Okay, hello, welcome back to another week of Sibling versus Sibling. Yes, and today is a juicy topic.
Not really.
Is it not?
Not really.
Dating. Dun dun dun. I guess for you.
No. Yeah.
You're still single. I have been single, I guess.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Hey. Alright, that's true.
So I think the first thing that I would be curious about is the differences that we had in terms of expectation that our parents had for us when we were younger. So how was that like for you? Do they ever, tell you like, hey, like don't date or something like that?
So, every parent has these rules, right? Like, if typically when it's like a father and father's always, protective. They're like, no boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. You see a lot of celebrities and movies where the fathers want to bully the boyfriend, stuff like that. And then for guys, it's a lot of those, depending on the parents, right? And depending on the background, it could range from how to be safe or how to not be a loser. As in, don't be Alright, we'll keep it PG, I guess. But yeah, there are different rules. In our case, or at least for my case, I would say it's a little bit different. Back then when we were talking about it, I didn't really get the same rules or advice that other people were told or other people told me, right? Like, we have someone who's technically part of our family, right? But he's from a different cultural background, right? The stuff he tells me is a lot different than my parents, right? Yeah. I think the thing that I remember the most, right, is date before you marry. And it's okay to date a lot, right? Emphasis on date, right? When I'm talking to the other person in our family that isn't, Asian background, that's not what he said, right? He said, be with a lot, right? With a lot of people.
I gotta be honest, you absolutely make no sense. Give me the point in like two sentences. So you're saying there's one person who told you date before you marry, and that's all he told you? Like,
no, okay, my parents told me. Okay, alright, let me be more clear, okay? Okay. So, my parents tell me date a lot before you marry. So that means date. Actually go date. It's okay to date multiple people, right? Okay. And the other guy technically in our family who is related to us indirect, like, kind of...
He's an in-law.
Yeah, in-law. He's
technically
white.
No, he is.
He's white. That's not like he tells me, okay?
So what does he tell you?
He tells me... How do you say it without being weird or inappropriate? Right, well, I'll keep this PG.
Oh, is that why? You're making no sense. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how to say it. So...
have sex with somebody?
Yeah.
Have lots of sex before. Got it. That's still PG. I think.
I don't really want to say it like that. But okay, thank you for saying it. Yeah. So that's what I was told. That's what I remember when I was younger. Is that weird to tell someone younger? No. That's pretty safe. He's like, they're both like my parents. They're all both old enough to be my parents. No, one of them is my parents. Okay, so yeah. That's one thing my parents tell me and our in-law tells us. And the other thing that I remember is like the Asian superstitions, right? I have to marry when I'm older. I think that's about it. Just marry when you're older. That's what I remember, right? Marry when I'm older. That way your marriage will last.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
I think that's all I remember, at least.
All right. So you saw a difference between parent figures who were Asian.
Yeah, compared to white.
Okay.
And then Asian superstition is, for me, date when you're older.
Yes. And this superstition, mind you, is that like if you don't, then your marriage goes into cahoot.
Yeah.
Like it's not going to be something like long lasting is what they...
And I think there was one other like the age requirement, but I don't think that was applicable to me. I think it's for you.
For
so
me.
when you explain your part, right? I think you've had the similar experiences with both people, right? Our parents and our in-law.
Yeah. Also, don't forget our grandma.
No, I never had. Oh, yeah, but we don't talk about that, right? That's a whole different thing. She just says don't date at all. So
yeah, I was gonna say like I have 3 different things told to me.
Okay, all right. Let's hear it. Yours is a little bit different than mine.
One is don't date at all.
Okay, yeah.
Like,
that's the same thing as me.
Yes, and that comes mostly from like our grandma. He's like, don't date in college. Like, who are you? You're still young.
Yeah.
Like, stop. But I think it's
date when
because
you're older.
Yeah, date when you're older. And then I have our mom, who's much more superstitious. I think I don't know if it's a superstition, but it's kind of like the shaman, and we never really understood what it was. But there's just certain things that we can't do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I've always been told is that I need to be married when I'm like over 25 or something.
Age. Yeah.
And I also had to be with an older person, right? Older man. And like at least 5 years above my age. I was like, where am I gonna find those people?
That's true.
Right? And that was way before. Even when I was young to middle age. No.
Middle age.
So when I'm like teenager, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But we really didn't talk about it that often.
Yeah, that's the other thing.
And to be honest, my dad never said anything to me. I don't think he did, at least.
I think that's
he just assumed you're not gonna date anybody.
Yeah.
Like there's no, you're just, yeah. But I think now that I'm like older, wow, I really skipped onto it. But now that I'm older, like they talk to me more. So we did have conversations, and this is where the change happened, where like my mom started like telling me, when they start telling me about your life experiences and their like version of like, did they date or not? Her thing was, you have to date before you marry. Yeah, that was what they had said to me, right? Because they're like, you can't be marrying someone you don't know, right? Like and back in the day, you kind of just like marry someone that's like, okay, yeah, family arranged, whatnot, and then there we go, marriage,
basically.
Kids. Okay, have a life together, and then chuck away. I don't know what they do after that. Be sad. Hopefully not. And yeah, it was very interesting. But I think with me, the big issue was always like, yo, what if I'm not with a guy? And it was always that, like, I feel like it's internalized homophobia of like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna end up with a guy. Because if I end up with a guy, then I don't ever need to explain. Right? But that's not what's happening.
Yeah.
I don't think that's gonna happen in the future.
Technically, 2 parts are technically met. Marry when you're older.
Like, for sure. That's gonna happen.
Yeah. See? And date someone older than you.
But what?
Older than
not by 4 years, by 4 months, right?
Yeah, older.
4 months.
Older.
Their soul is older.
Yeah, older. That's all that matters, right? So 2 are already set. Yeah, but the 1 you didn't meet, right? Just don't date. I think that's what you're feeling at right now. You're
exactly.
not dating.
I didn't date. Actually, no, I had dated before in the past. But yeah, so it seems like there's not that much different. Because when we did talk with our in-law, and I talked to my in-law, we were very open about, like sexual health and like sexual activities, which is really normal. I think that's something normal, but definitely not normal, say, in like the Asian culture. Yeah. Right? Like it's something that's kind of almost taboo to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess there's not many differences. Was there any differences between when I was talking about when I was getting older to where I am now? Like those expectations? Also very similar for you?
Yeah. In a way, my dad's reaction is very similar to our in-law. But he also has the same thoughts as my mom. So whatever my mom says, he agrees with. But he also adds on the stuff that our in-law also tells us, right? So that's really interesting. And I think the other difference that I could think about is I get made fun of more by our in-law than you do. So,
yes.
Hey, that's fun.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's pretty fun. Pretty interesting.
Yeah. Do you think you put pressure on yourself to say... No?
I don't know what you said. What were you saying?
I hate you. Do you put pressure on yourself to have met a certain quote unquote like standard, or like, oh, at this point I should be with someone, or I should have dated, like those societal pressures, not necessarily from our parents, but just from like what you learn from like TV or something, you know? Like, do you feel like that's something that you like think about at times?
Honestly speaking, I don't really know what the society standards are, so I don't actually have that pressure, and I honestly don't care. But I also have very different thoughts on these compared to, you know, standards that I've heard of and stuff that my parents have told us, our in-law and our friends, or at least my friends, right? I don't really... I don't know if our in-law told both of us, but I remember him telling us that it's fine to date in high school. It's good to date in high school just for experience. You understand everything. But for me, I was so messed up in high school that there was no point. And it's like a waste of time, waste of energy, waste of life if I dated in high school, right? It would just be failing classes. Basically, you know, not saying everyone in high school did that, but if you'd see most of the people, at least most of my people I knew that did that, grades sucked, didn't really do anything, a little bit weird, kind of clingy, lots of fights, lots of drama, right? It's high school. Everyone's dumb, everyone's young, everyone's immature.
We're growing. Like, we don't know what... A lot of us, I feel like, don't know what a healthy relationship looks like. We model it after what is in our life, and especially for like low income immigrant like parents, like there's a lot of trauma and a lot of time that just doesn't necessarily go into family and go into relationships because it's shown in a very different way. So then like you don't really know what the heck is up. Yeah.
So that's why I never really cared. Even now I'm like, now that I'm middle-aged.
Now that you're middle-aged. Any middle-aged person would be like, excuse
lonely,
me.
No, 7 cats, living by myself.
7 dogs?
7 pets, right? Living by myself, you don't count. You're like, not even here. So it's like, wow, so long.
You're living the life already of a middle-aged man.
Damn, I'm so tired. I'm just kidding. Honestly, don't care. I still don't, right? Dating to me, like, it seems fun. But also, I don't really care. I don't really talk to people today. Hey, I want to date. I truly don't care.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was also like that.
Yeah. No, but you matched the societal norms perfectly. Everything you did. Not saying that it's a bad thing, right? But you did match.
Honestly, when I think back, okay, like, if you think of me. And this is like, I'm like, you know me in high school. Y'all don't know me in high school. But when I was in high school, I was this pretty like nerdy kid, right? Who like stereotypically, you're like, no one's going to date you, most likely, right?
Yeah.
So then also, I was a person that I was like, yeah, I'm like screwed up. My brain's all screwed up, you know? In the nicest way possible, I guess. Just mental health issues if we talk seriously about it.
Yeah.
But a lot of that just came from like, yeah, then I'm never gonna date. And all of a sudden I had 2 relationships.
Yep.
One that ended in like, what, like 2-3 months? 1, 2, 3 months.
I have no idea.
Like the stereotypical, like you get together and like a week later you're like, where's the boyfriend?
Yeah, and then drama, and everyone in school talks about it.
Really? Okay, that's where I am a little different because I'm such a nerd, and I'm such a like just like keep to myself at some points. That I don't really hear it sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. I honestly don't.
Okay, great.
I only found out. To be honest, in high school, I only found out about rumors when my friends who know about the rumors or heard it told me.
Yeah.
I truly didn't know, or I didn't care.
Yeah, I guess the one thing that was different was that I had a really short relationship, and I had a really long relationship of like 1 to 2. I don't even know numbers anymore. Anyway, but it was great. Like everything was a learning experience, but I really never thought that I would be there. And I would be dating. And that's why when I went into college, I was like, there's no way. I'm going to live my life. And I'm totally fine. I'm going to live my life not dating anyone and not with anyone. I'm just gonna be with my pets if I get a pet, and I'm gonna be living on my own, living out my best life.
Yeah.
And that's why I was like, yeah, I also agree that I didn't really have any pressure to do it, because I definitely wasn't one to just get in a relationship just to get into it, you know? Like, it really needed to feel like, this sounds so cruel, but like you were saying, it's kind of like, as long as it's not a waste of time. I really think that this probably could work. And I know other people have different thoughts on that. Yeah. Right? Like, oh, like, it doesn't need to work, you just have to have that connection. I'm like, no, like, you gotta have that connection. It's like, if I don't...
Yeah.
You know, maybe you're just a friend. And I don't even text my friends.
Yeah.
As often, though. As pandemic things. But, yeah, I think we both grew up with kind of, like, not a lot of pressure to conform to anything that people said, honestly. Yeah.
I also think that might also be because our parents didn't really push us. Because I know our in-law, whenever he told us stories, his dad was very pushy about it. Not really pushy, but very encouraging about him dating. Right? Like, they would give each other high fives and stuff like that. Right? So I think that's also a thing. When we were young in high school, our parents didn't really talk about dating or relationships or stuff like that. Like, it kind of just occasionally came out, but it was really rare did we ever talk about it. And we only talked about when they were curious, oh, do you have a partner or whatever. And other than that, we rarely talked about it. So I guess most likely it's just how we were brought up, who we were exposed to. Because if you think about it, most of our friends haven't dated, if I'm not wrong. Until later. Yeah. Yeah. And most of my friends aren't dating anyone right now. And one of them started dating in high school, but late high school. Right? Yeah. So people we were around didn't even do some of the things that happened. So, or that is like typical, right?
So, and what even is typical at this point? I'm like,
I don't know.
I'm not culturally aware of the American ideals. I just know of the our Chinese culture of you know. Yeah. Even our family culture is very different of just like keeping to ourselves. But yeah.
Also, we're really weird. You know,
basically, we're just trying to say, not to scare you off, that do what you want.
Do what you want.
Don't let other people tell you how to dictate your life. And I think that a lot of this comes with also understanding that typical is just not there. Like, I've had so many people in high school, and this is the one thing I want to bring up too, because I feel like people come to you for relationship advice too. You know, when they come up to you and they're like, oh my god, I just broke up with someone, can you tell me, like, can you just listen to me? Like, no, that doesn't happen.
I don't remember that, but I remember people asking me out.
So you are a stereotype.
True. But not the typical.
You just flexed. Asking. Like, you just low-key flexed. Just like, I don't remember anyone come up to me for advice, weird. But people ask me out.
Because it's weird. Me talking about it is really weird for me to talk about. And I just realized that happened in high school. So I'm like, I don't know. But as for relationship advice, I don't know. Right? I don't know. Do they ask us for advice? I don't think so.
I don't know. I think I just hear things, though. Because I feel like when people like do talk to me about their experience, like, oh, like, are we moving too fast, too slow? Like, are we, like, what are, like, how long should we be dating? Like, you know, if we, like, break up earlier, isn't that like seen as like bad? And I feel like there's so many expectations that people think like should happen, and they keep themselves in relationships that aren't good for them and don't serve them, right? And not that relationships should be like always serving you, but it should be something that you enjoy being in, right? And yeah, it's just a lot of different things that you learn as you go.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Oh, now that you bring up a really good point, where people are unsure how relationships should be. And I think to make our point, our reasoning to why we didn't date sound a little bit nicer, just a tad bit, because we meant what we said. When we say a relationship to us if it doesn't work out, it's kind of like a waste of time, waste of energy, stuff like that. It's more so that we have our idea of relationship is a little bit different. Not different from other people or whatever. It's just different than how we see other people, like see our friends or see people around us, right? We think relationship is more long term, more dedication, having time, not really to mess around, to have like experience or whatever. It's like we don't think that is as necessary, right? I think that's why we say it's a waste of time or a waste of energy, because we don't want to spend time doing that and it doesn't end well, right? Or it doesn't end well in our mind, right? Like we don't want to just break up like a fighting or whatever, because that's lame, right? And you break up fighting in a week, that's lame. That's even worse.
Yeah, and that's just coming from like what we see or what you and what I see relationships as, but that might be different for someone else, right? And it's like, you know, like if you do just want to go into the relationship, like, and you know, kind of go in to see and check it out, and if it doesn't work, that's totally fine, right? Like that's the whole thing why like Tinder is so successful and like other things are so successful. It's like people, I feel like it's understanding either like that you're in an exploratory phase where you want to explore different things, or you're in a phase where you know that like what your expectations are, at least like this is like what my limits are and what I want from these relationships, and that's it. Like it's like really also being aware of like where you're at, right? Because I think it's a big part of not hurting yourself. Like everyone's gonna get hurt at some point, but like if there's things that you can do where you're not like permanently kind of like bringing up any
trauma,
yeah, if that makes any sense. Yeah. But
so do what you want, when you want, however you want it.
Exactly.
Basically. Right.
Exactly. And this is just also to like show the difference between the two of us, because I feel like we think very similarly, right? Of like we're gonna keep doing like what we want, but we end up like thinking very similar about what that relationship is gonna look like, and us really wanting that long term, which might not be for everybody. But yeah, I'm dating someone.
Yeah, and I'm not.
Yeah, like, everyone's at different places in their life, and sometimes like you either meet someone or you're wanting to meet someone. But I think both of us, it seems like we don't necessarily we won't ever try to meet someone. Like, we're not gonna go on the app to meet someone.
Yeah, that's not like one of our goals.
Yeah, and it's just something that we don't like doing.
And it's not, there's nothing bad about, you know, wanting to find a partner or whatever. It's just not what we want to do, right? And we are emphasizing that do what you want.
Yeah.
Right? And it's fine to be different. Lesson. It's fine to be weird, right? I don't go out, ever. That's not weird.
We're weird.
I want a dog.
That's not weird.
But I'd rather have a dog than go date. Yeah. So that's kind of weird.
Yeah. I think as people learn more and more about like the fact that there is no such thing as a normal relationship, like what is considered normal, it's just that you need a healthy relationship for yourself. I think that's where it is. Because like, come on, like go learn about polyamory, go learn about like different like kinks that people have, go learn about just like how some folks ended up like meeting each other for like a month and then getting engaged and married, and they're perfectly fine after that, right? And some people date for 6 years and then they get married after that, and then they're perfectly fine, right? There's no path that is like the right way.
And that's everything about life.
Yes.
Do what you want. There's no right path, wrong path. It's just figuring out what you want to do, if you like what you're doing, and that's about it. Right.
Yep. Follow your heart.
No. Don't follow your heart.
You're like, I don't have a heart.
No, don't follow your heart.
Follow your brain.
So, no. Grab a coin, flip it.
Do I want to date this person?
Yeah. Yes or no. Tails is yes, heads is no. Heads, alright. No. Like, am I going to marry this person I've been dating for 10 years? Heads for no. Tails are yes. Heads, no. Alright.
That's what you do to propose.
That's why I'm not dating. That's why I'm not dating. I'm just flipping a coin every single time, and it just.
Is that what you did when people asked you out?
Yeah, so I'm like, flip a coin. I'm like, no. And no. It's flip a coin. Do I tell them no straight up, or do I tell them no in the span of 2 weeks? 2 weeks. So they think I'm interested.
You really let them down.
And then in 2 weeks,
you
they're like...
You led them up and let them down.
Yeah.
Let them down.
Yeah, so every time I just say, maybe not. They're like, do you want to date? Maybe not.
What were you doing? Don't leave people
Too
on.
smart.
Nah, you were also confused. I feel like.
I'm never confused.
Alright. Do what you want. Live your best life. Be with people who actually care about you. And, like, define your healthy boundaries within a relationship. That's what we have. Because apparently there's no differences between us. And what we were taught to do for dating. Taught.
That's true.
Yeah. Alright, cool.
Yeah, hopefully this helps. I don't know if it will.
Versus sibling.
I don't think it will.
Sibling v sibling. Where there's no differences. Bye.
So sibling and sibling.
Sibling.
And sibling.
Sibling.
Plus sibling.
And sibling. No. Is it? Is it N like this? N like this?
Wait, what? What are you trying to do?
N.
For what?
Sibling and sibling. Sibling v sibling. Is this an N? This facing? Or is this an N? No. Okay, cut.